put a part of I don't even remember how they said it, but they didn't tell me. They just, I had experienced folks working for them through, back in the NASA days with, before this, I was still a young kid, but working with people to find things out with ESP, so to speak. It was like an intuitive, back in that time, the Russians were ahead of us after Sputnik, and they were working on psychic levels. So I had an ability that they liked, and they wanted me to find out. I remember him telling me that they think that I buried it in a coffee can in the backyard, and I was like, okay, what was it? But I was trying to read him like you do. I don't know. I think it's like that girl in the Star Trek Gene Roddenberry stories where she's an intuitive, but she feels you, so it's more empathic. But I was trying to just make sure he was telling the truth for them. I was like a human lie detector, but an empath at the same time. But I got the fact that he still had something, but he wanted me to believe that story, that it was buried in his backyard. So after all these years, I figured out later, after I left, because I was used in this way, to find out about the space Roswell piece of the equipment that came off, because one of our spacecraft had imploded. So this is the part that Janet wants me to tell tonight with her story that she's written up, is the fact we're going to have to do this like Star Wars or something, or Star, whatever they call it, Star something, but where go Star Trek or something, but where you go back in time and then you come back forward, all that. So it was basically, Janet wants me to tell the story of my human knowledge of later on in life when I worked with my third husband, Thomas R. Morris, is with Reagan, had seen a UFO and wanted to know the truth. So I find out later in life, I'm old, in my late 40s, in my 40s, I get assigned back with the Navy later on in life, 20 or 30 years later, because I was groomed as an ESP person or a Psi person or NASA person or CIA person. I don't know what I was. But I came in May 10th, 67, so it was after that, and it's before I met J. Allen Hynek. All right?
Okay.
I'm getting all lost.
Yes,
all right, but I'll stop on J. Allen Hynek.
Okay, that's okay. Back to Karen.
Back to Karen.
Okay.
Karen, your 5 minutes.
Well, I think,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I think that we keep talking about all this because I think that we're being connected right now, actually. What I'm feeling, because I do like you do, TJ, I receive a film, and then I have to translate it into words. But I'm watching a film while you're talking, while everybody's talking, and then I finish it, and that's how I do my teaching, too. And that's what an empath is. But I feel like that this disclosure is going to happen soon. I feel like that they're really here. And they're thinking of ways to gently come in and to mix with all of this. I think we're talking about Roswell, or we're talking about these people because, Stanton Friedman crossed over, and he's probably one of the helpers to help with all of these awakenings, among many others. Look at John Mack. Look at others. Look at Roger Lear, Dr. Lear. And many others who have gone on before and have a wonderful being in a relationship in the good place. So I just feel like that it's so important right now because every day is a different thing. And we don't really know what's going to happen from one day to the next, and we have to live in the now. It's very important to live in the now, but also talk up to our friends to help others. Now, this is crazy. All these sounds never go off. So this is an example of what they may be trying to reach us. They don't realize we're trying to do a good show. So this is proof. And when I'm talking to you girls, every time we do this, all these dings and these bells go off. Have you noticed that? It's not usually like that.
Yeah.
Because see, that's part of the energy. That's what we're doing, and that's their way of applauding, saying, "Okay, you girls, keep on going," you know. So that's really all I have to say right now. I think their energy's kind of wiped me out with those bells. So you guys can kind of slow down.
All right.
Okay. Okay. So let me reset
Sorry
the clock.
about all that.
Okay. That's okay. You can always pass when you don't have anything to say. Yeah, I'm really interested in what was going on with your story. So let me see there's something I wanted to ask you about. So you went down and you were met at midnight, and then you were talking to Jesse Marcel Sr. I guess that was the one that actually saw. That was the one that was in that famous picture where he was holding the debris, or was it that there's actually Jesse Marcel the third?
He was holding fake debris.
Now, and I guess they passed it down. Okay, so
yeah, he was told to hold fake debris.
So
that
he was
fake
holding
debris.
Fake debris, right? The fake debris.
Right.
Okay, so
that
then
wasn't the
were
real
you talking
stuff.
to Jesse Marcel Senior or Junior or the third? Which one were you talking
The original one. He was an old man when I met him, and I was young. So
right.
Jesse Marcel, I talked to all of them. For some reason, I don't know if it's the ETs or the government or themselves, but all of them are in my life. I've talked, for some reason, maybe the dad told the son.
They were doing the circuit.
Well, no, I mean the dad
started going to the UFO conferences. I'm saying all three of them had been on the UFO circuit. Yeah, I was asking you a couple questions, but yes, all three have been on the UFO circuit. But when one died, the next one stepped in, and so then Jesse Marcel Jr. did the UFO circuit for a number of years. But Jesse Marcel Sr. was, of course, our parents' generation, which is the World War II generation, right?
Right.
And then Jesse Marcel Jr. was probably closer to, I don't know when, I'll have to look up when he was born and when he died. But
well,
for
he
some
was
reason
skinny
he died,
and
now we're on the third. Go ahead.
Well, I talked to all three of them.
TJ?
Does that help?
Which one did you talk to first?
Well, the one I'm talking about in the story I'm trying to tell is the one in the kitchen in Houma, Louisiana or something. He had a real southern accent because he'd moved back and had, like my uncle, they had this twang or this southern New Orleans. It's not New Orleans, Houma. It's a Louisiana Cajun. We call it a... Anyway, it was an old man. Then I talked... the other one was real good friends with me, and the one in the middle, and then the baby was Denise's brother, the third. Now, Jesse Marcel third, remember he wanted me and him, we were going to meet in Las Vegas, Janet, when we were doing that Smithsonian something. We were doing, with the Ace Folklife, we were taking the Kentucky stories, but we had the MUFON stuff going on. So that was number third, and we were talking about meeting at an event, one of the MUFON or Las Vegas events. So we talked about that and asked him if he could get that done through Alibaba, that little piece he was going to do so people could have it, a little piece with purple etchings on it, because I wanted to see it. But he said, yeah. But I haven't seen it since. We stopped talking. I tell you, everybody shut me down. But go ahead. Back to you, Janet.
Well, I just wanted to, it was my term. So anyway, I was just saying that he was born in 1936 and died in 2013. So that was a junior. And I forget what question I was going to ask you. There was a point I was getting to. I was trying to get back in your story.
You want to know which one I'd met was the question. You want to know which one it was I'm talking about.
I had another question. I had another question after that. I had another question after that, and I forgot.
Well, start you over.
Second question.
Start you over.
Okay, let me see if I can get a hold of what I was trying to say. Hold on. Okay, so after that meeting, so you thought that was a very important meeting. Let me go into this a little bit more. And you don't know why they had you meet with Jesse Marcel Sr., but is that because
except to find out?
Okay, because you're psychic, and you were supposed to read them like Deanna Troi on Star Trek to see if he was lying or not. But he had something.
Yes.
Oh, that's what it was. He had something he hid in his backyard. So they probably want to go to the backyard. So was it the backyard in back in Roswell, or was it where he's living now, which he's now dead?
Can I tell you? Can I tell you what?
When you met him? Go ahead.
All right. Can I tell you what he knew I was doing? He had an insight. Remember, there was sort of an argument as to whether he was going to talk to me. I remember we were all going to leave, and then he called us back. I walked from the kitchen table to the living room. So there was a lot going on then. If you were watching it on the television, but he decided he was going to talk to me. But he talked to me like an intuitive empath person in my mind, and he talked to me like a human with a voice. So he knew how to do what ETs do. So I don't know how to say that because not everybody can do it, but it's like you look at a person with your eyes and you talk with your voice. But he told me in my mind that they think it's buried in the backyard in a can, but and he finally said it out loud, but he didn't believe that. So he had something, but he wouldn't tell them because there were little pieces that were imploded that different people picked up. But to me, he was going to leave it to his family, which I don't understand.
Okay, so wait, let me address this. So you're saying that Jesse Marcel Sr. was able to communicate telepathically like the gray aliens?
Yeah.
And did you get any insight into how he learned how to do that? Because you knew how to do it because you had been interacting with aliens, and I know how to do it because I've interacted with aliens, and I received telepathic, and you do.
Well, that's how Karen got involved with
me. Right. Well, that might mean that
means certain people can do it.
Wasn't just.
Well, as we're all
talking
about
with
this,
aliens. Wait, let me finish this sentence. It's my turn. Jesse Marcel was interacting with aliens, so he wasn't just. Something happened that he interacted with aliens. Do you have any insight, TJ, into how? What's the insight from your perspective? How Jesse learned how to communicate telepathically?
Well, I could suggest that we all can do it. It's just if we have an inner knowing that we're not in fear of. Greed and fear knocks out your internal organ that you have, like a pituitary or something in your brain, your pineal. But we're all intuitive and empathic, so we're getting into vibrations and sounds and emotions. But I think because he wasn't scared. He wasn't scared. He had that curiosity.
He wasn't scared of what?
ETs.
He wasn't afraid of what? What would he be afraid of?
He wouldn't be the little Chinese, the little Japanese, the little gray people. They're little people. He wasn't. He had an awe. I believe personally that he had a curiosity, but he didn't. He was like J. Allen Hynek. He wasn't a believer at first.
How did he come to get to communicate with them? Do you have the insight into what happened that he ended up communicating with them?
Let's see if I can find that. Well, I was just standing there in front of him. I was standing and he was sitting, but it was a feeling, Gene. It's empathic knowing that you can talk on that level. He just had it. I can't explain it. Some people have it. We all have it, is what I say, because I like to train mystics. We all have it. Not everyone does it or uses it. We all have the skill to ride a bicycle, but not everybody wants to because they're scared they'll fall over. So he already had the skill to ride it. I'm searching for words.
Town in Florida, you're not going to go telepathic with people in town. He has a connection.
No,
to
I
the
stay
ET,
in my room.
And I
don't interact.
Okay, but
no,
most humans,
I'm a real empath. I don't
cannot
interface.
They cannot communicate telepathically. Most humans, when you walk in town, cannot telepathically communicate. But for some reason, Jesse Marcel knew how to.
At least with me, he could. I don't know if it was everybody.
Okay, so let me.
I don't know if it's everybody.
Karen.
Yeah.
No, it's his turn. So it's TJ's turn.
Yeah, it's my turn.
TJ,
all right, so you were asking me questions during your time, but what it is you're trying to get this story down on. That's okay, folks, on Aquarian Radio, because it's so in depth. We need to do this way. I know it's confusing, but we'll get it because we've been working on this for 8 years, Janet and I. So we're closer than we've ever been. But they're so multi-layered. So I'm in the house, and the reason I can feel him